What's up, everyone? Welcome back to AI for Product Managers. I am Pranav. This is episode 12, and honestly, this might be one of the most practical episodes in the whole series. So, let me start with a true story because it's the reason I made this video, right? So, last quarter, our research team ran 100 user interviews, literally 100, and then they sat down to actually make sense of it all, like reading every transcript, highlighting the important bits, tagging the themes, finding the patterns, and writing the report, right? So that whole process took them around 3 full weeks, right? So 3 weeks of senior researchers' time. So just to synthesize what we would already collected, right? So we ran an experiment. It took those exact same transcripts, fed them through an AI pipeline we would be building, and one I am going to teach you today, the step by step. And we reproduced about 80% of their findings in just 2 hours, not 3 weeks, right? So 2 hours. And when we showed the team, the reaction was not, oh no, we are being replaced, right? So it was wait. So it was like, wait, so we couldn't have spent those 3 weeks actually talking to more customers, right? Exactly. So let me be really clear up, friend, like, because this matters. This is not about replacing your researchers or your research. It's the opposite, right? So it's about taking the mechanical and soul crushing part, the reading and tagging and counting, and handing it to the AI, right? So the humans can spend their time on the part that actually needs a human judgment, empathy, deciding what it all means and what to do about it, right? So AI finds the patterns, you interpret them. So, and here is the other promise I want to make. You don't need to be technical for any of this, right? So there is no coding. If you can copy a prompt and paste it into your chat GPT, Cloud, or any of your inbuilt AI tools, you have every skill you need, right? I'll give you the exact prompts on the screen. You will be able to pause and copy them straight out of this video, right? So quick roadmap. So you know where we are going. First, I'll show you the full 5 stage pipeline at a glance, and then we'll go stage by stage how to transcribe, and this is the big one, right? How to chunk your interviews the right way, because that's where most people quietly fail, right? Then the two prompts that do the heavy lifting, and the analysis prompt and the synthesis prompt, the live demos of the output. So then I'll be honest with you about when this approach falls apart, because it does. And we'll finish with a validation checklist so you can actually trust what comes out, right? The timestamps are in the description. If you want to jump around, uh, if it all sounds good, do me a favor, just hit the subscribe button. It genuinely helps the channel. So let's get into it now. So why this matters, the synthesis bottleneck. Okay, so before the how, let's talk about the why part, because if you understand the real problem, the solution makes a lot more sense, right? Here is the thing most people get wrong. We do not have a data problem. We are drowning in the data, right? We record sales calls, support calls, user interviews, churn calls. So there is customer's voice everywhere. So what we have is a synthesis problem, turning all that raw conversation into something you can actually act on it is like brutally slow, right? So let me put it in the concrete terms. 10 interviews, just 10 is roughly 80,000 words of transcript, right? That's a small novel. Okay. Now imagine reading that, highlighting every meaningful quote, tagging it by theme, and then doing it again across all the 10 to find the patterns, right? it's exhausting for us, right? It's a kind of work that makes people quietly dread doing research at all. Okay, and that leads to three really bad outcomes, right? So they are on the left here. Right, number one is because synthesis is so painful, teams cut the corners. Okay, so they do 5 interviews instead of 50 because 5 is all they can stomach analyzing, right? Number two is they rely on memory instead of method. So I feel like users set this instead of actually counting. And the number three, the most dangerous one, bias creeps in. Okay, when you are under the time pressure, you don't have time to hunt for surprises. So you unconsciously find the patterns that confirm what you already believed walking in, right? So that's how teams ship the wrong thing with total confidence. So now look at the right side, because this is the part that made me sit up the math on 100 interviews done by hand. So 50 hours of transcription, 40 hours reading and highlighting, and 30 hours of coding themes, right? 20 hours finding patterns, 15 hours writing the report. Add it up 155 hours. That's basically a month of a senior person's life, right? For one steady. So with the AI pipeline, the transcription drops to about 2 hours and it's entirely automated. So it's really a handoff, reading and highlighting that 40 hours of time, right? So basically goes to zero. Because the AI reads everything for you, theme coding goes from 30 hours to about 30 minutes, right? So pattern finding 20 hours to 15 minutes, and report writing 15 hours down to about an hour. So total roughly around 4 hours. That's a 97% reduction, right? Totally. And I want you to sit with what that actually unlocks, right? It's not just a time saved, it's a behavior change, right? When research takes 4 hours instead of 4 weeks, you stop treating it as this big scary quarterly project and you start doing it continuously, right? Every release, every feature, and you can check in with real customer voice as well. That compounds into a team that's just permanently smarter about its users. So that's the price. So okay, so how do we actually do it? So let me show you in the pipeline. Next one, next slide. And the 5 stage pipeline overview here. So here is the whole thing on one slide. The 5 stage pipeline: record, transcribe, chunk, analyze, and synthesize. Okay. I want you to hold up this map in your head, because everything else in this video is just us zooming into one of these 5 boxes. Okay. So stage one is record. You are almost certainly already doing this. Zoom, Teams, Gong, whatever your team uses. The only things that matter here are clean audio and consent, and I'll explain why in a second. Stage 2 is transcribe. This is where AI first enters the picture, turning that audio into the text. We are talking around 95 to 99% accuracy now, right? For penny is something that used to cost $1 a minute and a human transcriptionist, right? And stage 3 is chunk. This is the one nobody talks about, and I'm telling you right now, it is the single biggest driver of whether your output is brilliant or useless. So we will spend real time here. And stage 4 is analyze, right? This is where we use AI to pull the structured data of out of each chunk, quotes, pain points, desires in a clean format that we can aggregate, right? And stage 5 is synthesize. This is where the magic pays off. We take everything we extracted and ask AI to find the patterns across the entire data set, the themes, how often they came up, like how intense they were, and the surprises. So the key mental model here is each stage feeds the next. The quality of stage 5 depends entirely on the quality of stage 4. Okay. which depends on stage 3 and so on. Okay, so if you skip a stage, especially chunking, the whole thing degrades and you end up that generic surface level AI output that gives this whole approach a bad name. Okay, so let's do it properly. Stages 1 and 2 first. Um, Let me go through the next slide. Stage 1 and 2, record plus transcribe. So all right, let's move quickly because these are the easy ones, but there are a couple of things that will save you a ton of pain, right? So recording on the left. So two things genuinely matter. First, clean audio. I cannot overstate this. Big background noise is the number one killer of transcription accuracy, right? A barking dog, a noisy cave, and a bad laptop mic. So it all introduces the errors that then poison everything downstream. So use a decent microphone, find a quiet room, and if you are doing a lot of these, honestly, a $30 lapel mic on your interview site pays for itself almost immediately, right? Second is consent. Get it on the record explicitly, especially for customer calls. Is it okay if I record this for notes? It keeps you complaint and it's just the right thing to do also. And practically, you don't need a new tools like Zoom, Teams, Gong. They all record and store automatically. Okay, so you probably have a backlog of recordings sitting there right now. And now transcription on the right. This is where AI first enters, right? So I get asked about tools constantly. So here is the honest rundown. Otter.ai is great if you want something that auto joins your calls and transcripts live in real time, about $17 a month. Really a nice interface around 95% accuracy. Then there is a Whisper from OpenAI. This is my personal favorite for batch processing. It's free. It runs locally on your own machine, and the accuracy is actually better than most paid tools. And 97% plus. The catch is it like needs a little technical setup the first time, but here is why I love it, because it runs locally. No data ever leaves your mission, right? If you are doing sensitive research like healthcare, finance, anything regulated, that is huge. And Rev AI is the gold standard for pure accuracy, like around 99%, and it does speaker identification really well. Okay, but it charges per minute, so it adds up, keep on. And Fireflies and Grain are nice if you want CRM integration or the ability to clip highlight reels from your calls. Okay, so my recommendation, simple version, use Whisper for batch processing your completed interviews and Otter for live transcription during the calls. So I'll drop a link to a dead simple Whisper setup guide in the description. Okay, so now we get to the stage that actually matters the most and the one almost everyone gets wrong. Okay. This is a slide I really want you to remember. If you take one thing from this whole video, like take this is the secret sauce, and it's the step that separates people who get genuinely useful AI research from people who try it once, get garbage, and conclude AI can do the research, right? So here is the mistake. It's on the left. You take your big juicy 10,000 word transcript, you paste the whole thing into the chat GPT and you say find the insights, feel efficient, right? So it's not. So what happens is the model gets overwhelmed by the sheer volume, and to cope it just grabs the most obvious surface level observations, the stuff you already knew it, right? So you get a bland generic output, and it's because you asked it to do too much at once, right? The fix is like chunking the middle column. Instead of one giant block, you break the transcript into focused segments of roughly 500 to 2000 words, and each one centered on a single topic or question. Okay, and now something completely different happens. The AI can actually go deep on each chunk. It's not trying to summarize a novel, right? It's analyzing one focused conversation about one thing. The depth and specificity you get back is night and day, right? Same model, same transcript. The only thing that changed is how you fed it in. Okay. Now, three ways to actually chunk on the right. Method one is by question. If you ran a structured interview with, say, 10 set question, like just split the transcript at each question across 100 interviews. That gives you 1,000 focused chunks, right? But every single one is clean and analyzable. Okay, this is my default of structured research. So method two is by topic. Like for free flowing unstructured conversations, you can actually use the AI itself to do the chunking. Okay, literally prompt it with split this transcript into segments wherever the topic shifts. Okay, this works great for messy organic interviews. And the method three is by participant. You group all of one person's responses together. This is the one you want when you are building individual user profiles or comparing one segment against another, like power users versus brand new users, and about that size, right? So 500 to 2000 votes is the sweet spot, and it's a real Goldilocks things. Okay, so go much smaller than 500, and each chunk loses the surrounding context. So the AI misreads things. So go much bigger than 2000, and you're back to the overwhelm problem where it starts skimming and missing details. Okay, and 500 to 2000, um, uh, write that down. Like what we do the demo, like I'll show you chunking a real transcript so you can see exactly what it looks like. But seriously, nail this step and you're already ahead of almost everyone doing the AI research. Okay, and now stage 4, analyze. Now, stage 4, this is where we start pulling real structure out of those chunks. And this is the first of the two prompts I promised you. It's on the left. Go ahead and pause the video and copy it if you want. I'll wait. Actually, let me walk you through it because every line is there for a reason. Okay. So first line, I tell the AI what the interviews are about and who the participants are, right? So I have transcript chunks from 100 interviews about onboarding friction. Participants are new users and in their first 30 days. This context matters enormously. It's a difference between the AI guessing and the AI understanding. So don't skip it. And then I ask it to extract 6 specific things from each chunk and return them as a JSON, right? So let me tell you why each of these 6 ends its place. That's the right side of the slide. Number one is key quotes, verbatim, word for word quotes that reveal a need or a pain. These are gold because when you present to stakeholders later, nothing lands like the actual voice of a real customer, right? Number two is pain points, but specific ones. Um, Not it was hard, which is useless. Specifically, I couldn't find the settings page or the loading time made me give up, right? I literally tell the AI to reject the vague stuff. Number three is workarounds. How are they solving this problem today, right? With duct tape and spreadsheets, right? Because their uh, workaround is basically a spec for what you should build. Number four is desires. What do they wish existed? These are the feature requests in the customer's own words, right? Number 5 is emotional signals. Um, with an intensity score from 1 to 5, because frequency alone lies to you, right? Something 10 people mention casually matters less than something 3 people are furious about, right? The intensity captures that. And number 6 is my favorite, contradictions, where someone says one thing but does another one, right? I love this product but they haven't logged in for 3 weeks. Those gaps because between what people say and what they do are the most valuable insights in all the researches, right? And the AI is weirdly good at catching them. Okay. And the last line of the prompt is doing quite but critical work. I demand strict JSON output. Why? Because JSON is structured and consistent, right? Which means once I have run this across all the 100 interviews, every single chunk comes back in the exact same shape. And that's what lets me aggregate. Okay, so to actually count and compare across the whole data set in the next stage, if you let the AI return free form prose, you can't aggregate it, right? And the whole thing falls apart. So the context is like 6 fields strict JSON. That's the analysis prompt. Okay. Now states 5 synthesize plus the insight report. The stage 5 synthesis is like, this is where all the structured extraction pays off and turns into actual insight. Here insight, like here is the second prompt on the left again, pause and copy. The setup is simple, like I take all the JSON, I aggregate it from the analysis step, every chunk from every interview, and I feed it back to the AI and say, now find me the patterns across all of this, right? And I ask for 6 specific things, top 5 themes, but only patterns that show up across at least 3 different interviews. So I'm not chasing one-off comments, frequency, how many participants mentioned each theme, and the actual count, intensity, how emotionally charged each one is, and on that 1 to 5 scale. And segment differences is, do power users say different things than brand new users? Surprises, like insights that actively contradict the assumptions we walked in with, because those are the ones that change the minds and opportunities, the unmet needs that score high on both frequency and intensity, right? Because that intersection is where you should be spending your roadmap. Now look at the sample output, top right, because this is the moment it gets real. The theme 1, onboarding assumes technical knowledge users don't have, mentioned by 67 out of 100 people. Intensity like 4.5 out of 5. This is a screaming loud signal. Theme 2 is users want to see value before investing the setup time. So 54 people in intensity 4. Also strong. But now look at the third row, and this is the one, it this is one I get excited about. Like power users find the simplified onboarding patronizing, right? Only 12 people out of 100 mentioned it. Okay, small number, easy to dismiss, but the intensity, a perfect 5 out of 5. These 12 people are not mildly annoyed, they are furious. So this is a segment specific insight that a tired human skimming 100 transcript at hour 30 would almost certainly miss or round down to noise. The AI surfaced it because it weighs every transcript equally and it does not get tired, right? So that single insight reframed how we thought about our user segments. That's the payoff of doing this properly. Okay. And the AI will also flag the contradictions at this level. So like users say they want more guidance but skip every tutorial we offer. That's the kind of thing that completely changes your product strategy. So the last piece, bottom right, package it. Don't just hand someone a wall of JSON. Wrap it into a proper insight report and executive summary in plain language. So a theme map, plotting frequency against intensity so people can see at a glance what's both common and deeply felt, right? You're detailing detailed findings with the verbatim quotes, the contradiction section, a ranked opportunity list, and really important, a methodology note that honestly discloses that AI assisted in the synthesis. Okay, that disclosure builds trust with whoever reads it. Right, I'll put a template for this report in the description so you are not building it from the scratch. Okay. Okay, so quick power move before we talk about where this all breaks down. And this is the thing that takes you from nice research to undeniable. So fund it now insight. So combine your AI synthesized qualitative research with your quantitative data, your analytics. Look at these three pairs on its own. Qualitative research tells you user finds onboarding confusing. Okay, that's a feeling. And a hypothesis and a skeptical executive can wave it away as well. You only talked to 10 people, but now pair it with the quant. Your analytics show 72% of users drops off at step 3, right? So suddenly those two data points together are bulletproof, right? The quality tell you why people are dropping off, okay? And which is confusing as well. And the quantity tells you what it happens and how big it is, right? Neither one alone is as strong as the two together, right? The second example, like interviews say we want progress indicators on its own, fine, a feature request, but your A/B test data shows users who see a progress bar complete it twice the rate, right? Now you have a triangulated insight with real confidence. You know the feature works and you know why people want it. And the third is mobile feels broken. In the interviews, and the data shows 3 times the bounce rate on mobile versus desktop, the same story, right? So here is a pattern. Qualitative is the why, quantitative is the what, and when they point in the same direction you have a conviction, right? So you can walk into any room and defend that decision. And here is a neat trick. AI can actually help you to do this matching. Feed it both your synthesized quality themes qualitative themes and your key metrics, and literally ask it, where do these qualitative insights align with the quantitative signals, okay? And where do they contradict each other? So when they align, move fast and with confidence. And when they contradict, when users say one thing but the data shows another, congratulations, you have just found the most interesting research question in your entire company. So go dig into that. Now I want to switch gears and be completely honest with you, because anyone selling you AI research is as pure magic is lying. And honestly, the limitations are just as important as the technique. So let's talk about when this fails. That's the left side. First, small sample sizes. If you have got fewer than 10 interviews, stop. The patterns the AI find just are not statistically meaningful, and you are better off just reading them yourself, right? AI shines at scale. Not It's not for your first 5 conversations. Second is like highly emotional or sensitive topics. AI reads the text and it misses tone, sarcasm, and cultural context. If a customer say, "Oh yeah, that feature is great," dripping with sarcasm, the AI might happily code that as positive sentiment. Okay, while any human would catch it instantly. So third is like anything where body language matters, like if a participant went quiet for 10 seconds before answering, or shifted uncomfortably, or lit up with genuine excitement, all of that is just gone in a text transcript. So fourth is like novel domains. If you are researching something genuinely new, a brand new market, a niche technical field, the AI has no training data to lean on, right? And it will miss the domain specific patterns and experts would have catch it. And fifth, regulated research, healthcare, finance, legal. There you need human review of every insight. So full stop. So AI can assist, but a human has to sign it off. Okay. So here is the rule I live by, and I want you to actually internalize it. AI finds patterns, humans interpret meaning. AI tells you what people said. You, the human, figure out why they said it and what to actually do about it, right? So keep the division of labor and you will never get burned. So, which brings us to the right side, the validation checklist, because trust is not a vibe, it's a process, right? 6 steps and they are fast. One, spot check quotes. Take 10% of the quotes the AI pulled and verify them against the original transcripts. Are they accurate or not, right? Are they in context? The second one, triangulate the themes against what you actually remember from the live calls, right? If the AI says the top theme is X, but you distinctly remember Y dominating, dig into it, right? And the third one is test with your team, share the findings with other people who were in those interviews. Do they agree or not? And the fourth, actively look for gaps. What did the AI miss that you remember? Okay, it's usually the subtle between the lines stuff. The fifth one is a bias check, and this one's sneaky. AI over indexes on articulate, talkative participants because they generate more quotable text. The quiet ones who might have the most important needs get underweighted. Watch for that. And the sixth one is the 30-minute rule. Budget 30 minutes of validation on every single synthesis, non-negotiable. Do these six things and you get the best of both worlds. Okay, both worlds. I mean, the speed of AI with the trustworthiness of human review. Okay, and yeah, the all right. Let's lock this in because I want you to actually walk away and use this, not just nod along. So, two things on this slide, the mistakes to dodge and the full recap. The first, the five mistakes I see beginners make over and over. On the left, mistake one, and you know this one now, feeding whole transcripts instead of chunking. Always chunk first. Mistake two, vague prompts. If you just say analyze this, you'll get mush, right? Give it the topic, the segment, and the exact output format you want. Specificity in equals quality out, right? And mistake three is not asking for structure. If you don't demand JSON or some consistent format, you literally cannot aggregate across the interviews, and aggregation is the whole point, right? The mistake four is skipping validation because the output looks confident and polished. It always looks confident, and spot check it anyway. And the mistake five is trusting tiny samples, right? So if you have got fewer than 10 interviews, just read them yourself. Don't dress it up as AI synthesis, right? Avoid these five, and honestly, you are already ahead of 90% of people experimenting with this stuff. And now the full recap on the right, the entire pipeline in one breath. Stage 1, record with clean audio and consent. Stage 2, transcribe, whisper for batch, auto for leave. Stage 3 is chunk into 500 to 2000 word segments, the secret sauce. The stage 4, analyze each chunk into those six structured fields as JSON. And stage 5, synthesize across everything for themes, frequency, intensity, and surprises. And then wrap it with validation, like 30 minutes, non-negotiable, and triangulate against your product metrics. That's it. That's the whole system that turns 3 weeks into an afternoon. Okay. It's not a complicated one. It's just a sequence done with a little discipline or at each step. Okay. Now, okay, we are at finishing line, and this is the last part is the most important because watching a tutorial doesn't change anything, right? Doing it does. So here is your homework, three things, and you can knock it out this week. Number one, transcribe one interview, just one. Grab a recent user call and run it through Otter or Whisper. Get comfortable with the transcription step. It's the easiest one and it will build momentum, right? Number two, run the analysis prompt on the transcript. Copy it from the video, chunk the transcript, and extract those six fields like quotes, pain points, workarounds, desires, emotion, contradictions. See what comes back. And number three, this is the one that actually teaches you. The compare the AI's output to your own notes from the same call. What did the AI catch that you completely missed? Okay, and just as importantly, what did you catch that the AI missed? The tone, the hesitation, the thing between the lines. Okay, and the comparison is how you calibrate your trust in the tool. Okay, you learn exactly where it's strong and where you still need to be the human in the loop. So do that once and this whole video clicks into the place. Okay, and please drop your results in the comments. Tell me what surprised you. I read every single comment. I genuinely love seeing what people find when they try this and on their own data. So now what's next? Episode 13. We are building AI powered roadmap. I'll show you how to score and prioritize features using actual data instead of whoever argues loudest in the room. It's one of the most requested topics I have gotten in LinkedIn. So if that sounds useful, hit subscribe and ring the bell button so it shows up for you the seconds it drops, right? As soon as I uploaded the video, you will get a notification. And while you are at it, drop a comment and tell me how many user interviews does your team actually run per quarter. I'm really curious about the range because I suspect a lot of us are under researching for exactly the reasons we are talked about today. I'll leave you with this, and it's the whole philosophy in one line. The best researchers don't do more interviews. They extract more insights from every single conversation. That's the game. So give your team superpowers. I am Pranav. This has been AI for product managers, and I'll see you in episode 13. Thank you.